Craig, he says Evan Ferguson would absolutely flourish at Celtic. He'd bang goals in for fun, a massive upgrade on Adam Ida. It's a name that kind of hasn't gone away this summer, Keith. Evan Ferguson to Celtic. I know he's at Brighton. He was once heralded as...
I was going to say, Evan Ferguson of, 18 months ago, 2 years ago, would have been, you would look at him as a massive upgrade on Adam Ida. I'm not sure that rule can still be applied. Is Adam Ida not keeping him out of Ireland's starting 11? I'm not sure that he is, actually. What I would say is that Evan Ferguson looked every inch a superstar when he was breaking through at Brighton. He was sensational. And I think at that point, comparisons were even being made to Harry Kane. Mm-hmm. In terms of his physicality, his range of finishing, his speed, his aggression, his ability to deal with defenders. I thought the boy looked at absolute full package. And I just thought this boy was destined for huge things. And I was actually pretty upset about it because at that minute in time, obviously, Scotland, we were crying out for a striker coming through and getting us excited, a potential match winner. And I thought Republic of Ireland have found themselves an absolute gem here. I don't know what's happened to his career because, I mean, it hasn't just kind of slowed, it shuddered to a halt, hasn't it? I know that there was interest, or certainly speculated interest from Celtic midway through last season. Was it even the season before? And he went to West Ham instead. And at that point, you could understand that because I think he'd only had maybe a poor few months, but that poor few months has now developed into a poor year.
I think is it 3 goals in 18 months? I think he scored.
Yeah, you're right. Two for Ireland.
And given the standard that he set for himself when he burst onto the scene, I find that astonishing and alarming a little bit. If I was looking at making a big investment, and I'm sure that's why he probably finds himself in this position. That all said, one of the key Celtic strategies certainly in Martin O'Neill's time was if you can go and pick yourself a player that has got proven ability, but might be having a difficult period in his career. I'm looking at your Chris Suttons, for example. They can reinvent themselves in Scottish football. And you would look at everything that you ever saw from Evan Ferguson and think, if he was fit, motivated, and had the fire in his belly, you're right, he would be an absolute sensation up here. But, what's his value? Are there English Premier League clubs who look at him and think, well, we can throw him a lifeline? Because if they do believe that, they'll be able to counterpunch in terms of what they can offer contractually in terms of a wage packet for the boy. But he's got a big decision to make because his career is not going the way many of us imagined, almost all of us, I think, imagined it would just a couple of years ago.
I suppose Adam Ida's the perfect example because, where was he going at Norwich before he came up here? Was he third choice down at Carroll Road? Really going nowhere, comes up, has a terrific 6 months, wins his move here. Norwich dig their heels in for a pretty sizable fee for him. Okay, he's not probably hit the heights that Brendan Rodgers was looking for, but I think he still got 19 goals last season. I mean, he still more than played his part in a Celtic's double success. So, I think the Sutton example was one I was going to reach for, Keith. I think you looked at him at Chelsea. I think it was at 3 goals down at Stamford Bridge back in whatever it was, 2000. Looked like his career was sort of, just sort of fading out because Malcolm was a revelation. So, as I say, Evan Ferguson sort of he's struggling in the Premier League. Adam Ida was struggling in the Championship and he's come up here and played a decent level. So if Evan Ferguson can get himself going in the Premiership, I would back him to be a very good signing for Celtic. I think he's he showed in that initial purple patch just how dangerous a striker he can be if he can just get that opportunity just to find his confidence. That's the way it is a lot of times with strikers. They just, once they get themselves into that zone, off they go, and it's hard to stop them.
Yeah, I think at that time he one of these guys that you could actually feel himself visualising scoring a goal when he was walking onto a pitch as if he was going to manifest it. and he knew that he was going to score goals. Ball came to him, he knew he was going to score it. Didn't think about it, didn't overthink it. It was all just so natural to him at that point. He was phenomenal, and that's why he got the kind of comparisons with Harry Kane. And I don't think that was over the top at the time, because he was going goal for goal with Harry Kane in the Premier League at that point in his career, and looking like a younger, stronger, faster version.
I think, Keith, that Evan Ferguson on loan to Celtic this season makes sense to me, and I think he would absolutely fly up here under Brendan Rodgers.
Well, yeah, listen, I don't disagree with you, but again, as we were talking about there with Bournemouth and Max Aaron, these clubs aren't in the business of doing favours for people. There would need to be a reason for Brighton to loan him out. I think he's still got a few years left in his contract. And if there is a manager down there that is looking at him thinking he can get a turn out of him and make him a Premier League player, then Brighton can get a fee. And it's similar with what Bournemouth might be looking to do with Max Aarons right now, in terms of why would I put him out on loan if I think I could get 8, 9, 10 million quid? Mm-hmm. And that's for a right back, maybe 6, 7 million pound for a right back. So what's a striker? What's a striker that showed the potential and has proven what he can do in the English Premier League? What kind of price does that carry? So if it gets to the end of the window and nobody's taking a punt on it, then that's when I think Celtic becomes a realistic possibility.